Alright guys, HyDra again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Scump has made his return to Black Ops 6 and immediately discovering why the game might be somewhat broken. There's a big problem right now, it seems, on Skyline, a new wallbang that has been discovered that may well ruin the competitive meta on this map, especially for hardpoints going into the new year. Some big Rostermania stuff happening though as well, certainly with the Miami Heretics involved. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. We'll get to this video here in a second with the Vancouver Surge as they're now called, but firstly, let's talk about this. Miami Heretics, they confirmed Vickel's departure, his retirement from the competitive scene over the last couple of days. Vickel announced it himself. It seems what's happened there is Vickel was on the roster last year, he was maybe intended to be on the roster this year, then they brought in Rancor, they decided to make that change, Vickel was therefore gone. And it seems like they wanted an alternate substitute. Miami are basically the only team in the league that actually will go for nowadays a 5-man roster. Every other team, it seems, has basically got rid of their sub. We've seen it, I think, even with FaZe. I'm pretty sure Classic is no longer a part of FaZe, as in, you know, they don't have a sub anymore. Their sub, I guess, is going to be Coach Crowder. And it's just incredible how this has happened, because you guys remember when the CDL first began back in 2019 into 2020, it was mandated every team had 5 starters and 2 substitutes. OGLA had, what was it, Chino and Goonja. OpTic had, like, Huntsman, was it, like, General and Embos, wasn't that their situation? And obviously, like, Maniac for some reason, not Major Maniac, but, like, Maniac, OpTic Maniac, the Halo, former Halo Pro, he was, like, Florida's sub. It was a wild time. But now, as we know, it's got to a point where, like, no team has a substitute anymore. OpTic nowadays, probably they're going to put down Karma, which honestly is not a bad sub at all. You know, the other pro teams are going to put down their coach more than likely. Some teams might put down, you know, a content creator like OpTic could put Scump down, I guess. But then they'd probably have to pay him some sort of a salary. So, but then again, there's no minimum anymore, apparently. So you could just pay him $1 a year. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. But look, Miami, they let Vickel go. And it seems like, okay, you know, what are they going to do instead? Are they going to have a sub? Is Method Sick their coach going to be their sub? As Miami says, I guess it's time to look for another OpTic Reaper, of course. Well, Vickel was in some fair bit of drama last year with OpTic from time to time. And they confirmed their new intro for the upcoming season. So, obviously, I guess they've known for some time what they're going to do with their roster now. This is their current roster of 4. But as we're going to see in a second, it's not implausible. They make another change here. So, yeah, Lucky, obviously Metals on the team as well. Rancor has now come in for Vickel. And then Real rounding out the roster, right? Of course, Real was potentially going to be joining Toronto. There was some interest there. Apparently, Miami were not interested in selling. And as I said yesterday, depending who you ask, this Miami team, you know, some think this Miami team is pretty damn good. I think the way this game plays, certainly early season, I would say, you know, a team to watch out for in their first couple of games. I think they play Vegas this weekend. And actually at the end of the video, we'll see exactly what that situation is. However, yesterday they did officially confirm a new player in the roster, and that being Super. Now, I've talked about this in the entirety of the offseason, so I'm actually very, very happy to see this, that Miami have seemingly decided that if you want to be a real contender, you've just got to bring in the best Spanish players. Now, we talked about it before, that seemingly there was some sort of friction or internal Spanish rivalry where certain players didn't want to play with other players, because for the last couple of years, Super has been frying in challenges for like the last 3 seasons. He's also an incredible sniper. It's a real shame, I think, that there's no snipers in it right now, because Super would be hitting some shots, that's for sure, if it was allowed. Lucky's a nice sniper as well, but you know, maybe you can't have both on the same roster, that's the theory anyway. But Super's been frying in challenges the last couple of years, but it just seems like Super's like circle with Super, Rancor and those guys didn't really get along with, you know, the Metals, Lucky side of the whole situation. But it is interesting that Vickel is gone, because, you know, some were saying that Vickel, and I think maybe Journey was the man who could actually cross the boundaries. It was kind of confusing, but it seemed like there was some sort of beef there, and Journey was like in both camps, but maybe Vickel wasn't. I don't know. Obviously, Journey's not on the team nowadays either. Eric Boom they had last year, he's not there anymore either. So, but yeah, Vickel goes, and now Super's in. So it seems like, and I think even Super did a tweet a couple of months ago to say there's no issue from my side with that side of the Spanish scene. So whatever. Super, Rancor were like 2 of the best European Challengers players last year. certainly the two best Spanish players in Challengers last year, and I think if Miami want to be the best they can be, they just had to sign these guys on board, and then at least they can choose what their starting roster's going to be. Super, though, generally runs an AR, so if they are going to make a change and bring Super into the starting lineup, because right now he's on the bench, I think they confirmed this in the replies, that, yeah, pending CDL approval, he's going to keep playing EU Challengers for now, but until his visa's approved. But Miami have done a pretty good job in getting that sorted in the past, and more than likely they're going to do so again. The team I expect is going to be Real is going to stay, Metals is going to stay, Renkor's going to stay. The question they might mess around with is whether they trade out Super for Lucky. I think that's the potential this year, and if they're good but not great this season, I think they'll probably give that a go. So I'm excited about the possibility of this. We talked about it for some time. If Miami are going to commit to the Spanish project, they want to be as competitive as they can be, they just had to bring Super and Renkor into the project somewhere, and now that's exactly what they've done. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes for that team. We also saw this yesterday from the Vancouver Surge. They put together another banger video. This is, of course, going to be their intro for the upcoming season, and it's like a classic Seattle Surge, okay, Vancouver Surge now, production they put together here with the entirety of the new team. How good are these guys going to be? You know, look, I have them making it to the World Championship at the end of the year. I don't really know, you know, whether this roster is going to be the same roster they end the season with, right? Because obviously Nastie, I rate that pickup a lot. 04 and Abuzah sticking around, no problem at all. To me, really, it's the 04 Hicksy combo. I don't really know why it turned into like a dance party at the end of this video here, but it does go kind of hard actually. But yeah, I thought it was entertaining anyway. It's just this 04 Hicksy combo on the SMGs that I'm like, oh, well, you know, that could be a bit of a question. There's lots of good AR duos in the league this year. I think this is the concern for a guy like Illy, because you look around the league and you look at the teams that Illy would want to join, and you see most of the teams have a pretty good AR duo anyway. So it's SMG players in challenges such as Huke who will be eyeing up potentially a team like this. Then again, Huke and Rambo Ray, not necessarily the best history there. So I don't know if that's a consideration. We'll actually discuss Huke in a couple of seconds here. I will say, we mentioned on the Dope Check show last night, potentially if Illy's looking at an option, Ravens is an interesting one because they've got Gwyn, TJ on the SMGs. Vivid is like their flex right now, and we know that Vivid has a history of, for whatever reason, getting dropped a lot. So that is maybe one thing to keep your eyes on because, you know, I'm trying to think which is going to be the first CDL team to make a roster change this season, and it's kind of difficult to say. Clay, though, says the Falcons boys are there, was the team's first full day of practice in NA yesterday, which is not ideal. I mean, like, we're talking, he tweeted this on the 2nd, and I guess yesterday was the 1st, so that's like 5 days of practice before the matches officially begin. Solid start, now to keep improving, no streams, focus on getting them all set up. They will return once I'm back on a schedule, he says, not stream and practice it seems. But speaking of Huke, I thought this was remarkable. This was the first cup for North America that Huke's team won, so Huke, Capsadol, Prolute and Spart. Huke, that tournament had a 1.46, just far and away better than literally any other player. So yeah, if there's anyone getting signed, there is one man getting signed. Where he goes, that is a matter for debate, and I thought it was, you know, people were looking on the CDL website to see if there was any intel there. I thought this was kind of funny. I mean, look, if you give me an opportunity to roast the CDL website, I'm gonna take it. It's just what I do, and I don't know why there's a picture of Real here for Estriel, but at least they got the other ones right, I guess. Although the socials, like, for some reason are missing for many of the players. Anyway, that's your rocker team, your G2 roster, but it is Estriel rather than Real, and I guess someone got confused because Real, Estriel, I'm guessing that's what happened there. Anyway, this was a pretty remarkable clip I saw going around last night. Wanted to share it for you guys on this new Wallbang spot here on Skyline. So they played some guy in Ranked who'd apparently discovered this in private matches, and apparently this is only possible with the pistol. But it does create a rather interesting spot. We saw last year maps such as, what was it, Invasion, Search and Destroy, when the Subliners boys discovered a couple of Wallbangs, it changed the complexion of the map. And, well, this is another big example, because if you're on Skyline Hardpoint, this is a very common spot to play in this Hardpoint hill behind the bathtub, and now you can just get straight wall bangs, no problem at all. So I wanted to share this one because, obviously, Scump's made his return over the last few days, and it seems like he's absolutely mind-blown.
Fallen stun you.
You hold him left?
I got left.
Trophy system.
What? Top flat to the back.
On hill. That's it. One shot.
Did you
Front
bet?
of me. I hit him once in time.
One shot. Nice. That's 4. Get this time.
He said not cheating. That's a wallbang spot I practiced in private match, and it only works with the pistol.
Let me see it.
I mean, that's just passion. Show me the shit. What the fuck?
Oh. That's insane.
No, I actually.
Well, what else did he practice in private match? He went 50 and 19.
That's
I actually kind of believe him, bro. He wasn't really giving me any sus clips.
So it is one of those spots that gets discovered every so often, and the developers might have to think about, right? I just find it incredible how easy it is to shoot through the walls nowadays on these games. I mean, the pistol kills me, what, 4 or 5 bullets there? Like, there are so many spots. There's a spot on Vault as well. You can shoot through the wall kind of similarly. It will kill you in basically the same amount of shots as it would take normally if there was nothing in the way. So I don't know what's up with these literally paper-thin walls that people are putting together here, but yeah, feel free to try this out for yourselves, guys, and see if this does some serious damage, because Scump was obviously mind-blown about this discovery. But before we close out the video, wanted to mention the matches for this upcoming weekend. Of course, OpTic are officially back in business this weekend, as is every other team. These are the games. So this is the opening weekend of the season. We talked about a couple of these games the other day, but I wanted to run through them because there's some good ones in here. There's some not so good ones in here, but obviously every game is going to be interesting because it's the opening weekends, early doors, and, well, we see Gorillas, that's Gentlemates versus Minnesota Rocker game 1, so, you know, not the pick of the bunch in my opinion. OpTic then play Boston. Ravens then play the Falcons boys. That's the first weekend of the first game for them. So theoretically, the Falcons guys, they play Ravens, they play Miami. It's an easier run than they could have had. For example, Gentlemates, they play Minnesota and they play Ravens. So some teams have an easier start on paper. Other teams certainly have a much more difficult start, such as the Cloud9 boys, such as even you could say FaZe, and we'll discuss that over the coming seconds here, right? But, you know, on day one, probably people are going to favour Gentlemates just because of where the rankings currently sit. You know, we'll see what the coaches poll says. I'm pretty sure the boys are trying to run that over the next day or so to get the reaction from the coaches to see, you know, where they expect these teams to be for the upcoming season. But, yeah, based on that, I'm sure it will inform people's decisions here. But OpTic Boston, Vegas Ravens, and then, of course, it's going to be FaZe Toronto. Kind of a banger to close out day one. Obviously, it's no longer Drazah versus Scrap. The Drazah versus Scrap series comes up as the last game of the weekend, but nonetheless going to be interesting to see whether Toronto can put up a good fight there against you know, the top 4, top 3 teams, I guess, as it's going to be now. Then Falcons play Miami, Minnesota versus Boston, Vancouver versus or Surge versus Toronto, and then Thieves New York is interesting to see the Los Angeles Thieves in action for the first time. But to close out the weekend, we've got a couple of bangers. OpTic play Cloud9. I think they played at the KSAN tournament as well, and OpTic won. So difficult start to the weekend for Cloud9 because they could easily come out of this weekend 0-2, but still be a very good team. But I think they probably will come out of this weekend 0-2. But then to close up the weekends, this is, I wouldn't say going to be a telling series for the season, but I think it's going to be important because you guys remember last year at the start of the year, OpTic played like New York, didn't they, on the first weekend, and it was like a Game 5 terminal search and destroy. New York, I think, took the win. And I wouldn't say that defines the season, but in many respects, we knew that those two teams were going to be contenders and competitive for the year. And they were. New York, of course, weren't as good as time progressed, but they did match up in the World Championship Grand Finals. This is going to be your FaZe Los Angeles Thieves game, which, you know, easily could define the best team in the league. OpTic, of course, are the world champions, but FaZe have been #1 in the season standings every single year for the last, like, 5 years. So, yeah, we'll see if Thieves can do it, especially, like, online, because online FaZe tend to be, they're good on LAN as well, but they are very good, generally speaking, on live. And very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. I guess the other thing is, it's on YouTube, right? youtube.com/CODLeague. No Twitch, no other situations. You know, the YouTube deal is considering it serious. But hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.